Well, you gotta enjoy that intro part. At least I do. Well, welcome to the Fetal Pig Dissection Lab Simulator, which is now at 100% complete. Today is Wednesday, August 26th, 6:45 in the morning. And if you hear any extraneous noises in the background, I am at home and the kids are just waking up to go to school. So I do apologize for that in advance. All right. Fetal pig dissection was a collaborative effort created by lots of graphic designers, well, two, and two developers over at the Sinclair Community College in Dayton, Ohio. So let's jump right in. As you can see off to the left, there is the instructions, which include accessibility and just step-by-step approaches to what to do depending on what part of the dissection you're currently in. So you can make reference to this. We won't, because I know what I'm doing and I want to speed through this a little more. The other ones that are down here, these other buttons, are for the different systems of the pig: respiratory, digestive, urinary, reproductive, and you go to those after you've committed to different steps of the dissection of the pig. We will not do that now. Actually, if we do, we're presented with a little prompt. Piggy comes up, says, hey, you can't do that just yet. You can only begin after you've dissected a fetal pig. So let's hop right to it. Let's say okay and pull ourselves back out. First thing is to pick up the scalpel. If I pick up the scissors instead, we're going to get that same message. Hey, pick up the scalpel, Piggy says. So we'll do the scalpel first. And we bring it over to the little green hash. Cut it open. That's just the first incision. After that, it is time to pick up the scissors. And we will do so like that. And bring it over to the first incision and cut. So that cut was made. If I try cutting anywhere else on the pig, it doesn't do anything. So it is a hot spot attached to the scissors or any other cutting utensil to tell you where to start cutting or continue. So let's finish this cut. And these are the cuts that the students in this particular biology class are instructed to make. So they have to learn this pattern. In future revisions, we plan on making the scissors rotate at the command of the students. At the moment, it's just cutting in a pattern that is not hard-coded, but the scissors turn based on where the next cut is. We want the students to be able to know how to do that on their own. Cut that last one. And now we are left with the pig in its ready to peel state, I like to call it. So let's peel the pig. Peel it open. Notice the sound effects that we put in this. I like the sound effects. Makes things more interesting. Alright, so now we got a piggy that's a little more exposed. Sorry. You do get kind of used to this after a while, after working with a pig this up close and personal. So let's bring him back out. You will see him more in a zoomed in nature. I zoomed in for you, but the actual program does that as you switch between these different systems. So now it's time to identify the parts. If we click on respiratory, the pig exposes the parts that are available in the respiratory system, and you can see on the left-hand side all of these parts. They will check themselves off as you identify them. If you try to check on them, basically it tells you same thing before. It just gives you a little error messages. No, can't check box them off. Can't check box them off until you've identified the parts. The parts will actually check box them for you. So let's do that. As you roll over the parts, for instance, let's look at for the lungs. The lungs are listed first. We're going to go over to lungs, and voila, lungs show up, and the checkbox is checked. Next one is the diaphragm. And you can grab this pig and pull him over when you can't see enough of the pig to identify the parts. But for the most part, the pig tries to center himself or herself up into the right position for you to be able to see the most of this pig when you're dissecting. So if it's the respiratory, it will line itself up in the general vicinity of the respiratory system parts. So let's go for the diaphragm, which I know happens to be here. Yay! Diaphragm lights up, and the check box is checked. And let's try to speed through some of the rest of this stuff. So epiglottis. That's the larynx. Okay, I failed. So that is not, but that is one of the things we do have to find. Epiglottis is over towards the mouth. I know we have to identify a few more parts. There's the mouth, nostrils, and we're going to open the mouth by, I think it's clicking on the mouth. No, right there. There we go. Yeah, it's been a little bit since I've used this, and now we have to identify the epiglottis, but as we travel to the epiglottis, we're finding the hard palate, the soft palate, and then the epiglottis. And now we find the tongue, and you can look off to the left. Every time you identify something, you will see that all those check boxes are slowly getting ticked off, or not mad, just selected. So now what are we missing here? Trachea. You can scroll down and see, and looks like that's the last piece that's missing in this system. So let's close the mouth and drag the pig over and look for the trachea. That should be right there. So now we've got all of them checked in that system. And we go to the digestive. Digestive scrolls into view. Depending on where you were before, the scrolling might be a little off, but you can always fix that by grabbing the pig. So now we're looking for the esophagus. Let's see, esophagus would be here. And now some small intestines right there. Mesentery. Sometimes these organs are underneath other organs, and it's explained in the directions, but for now I will say that you have to click on some of these organs to move them around, which simulates the same motions you would make in the lab, where you have to dig in the animal a little bit to get to the parts that are underneath each other. So let's click, or dig as we should say. And there we go. Mesentery is underneath the small intestines. It's part of the small intestines. It's a part that holds it together. And now we're looking for the large intestine, which is found underneath the small intestines. So let's click that out of the way. There we go. Large intestines. And now we're looking for the gallbladder. Anybody know where that's at? I think I do. It should be underneath the liver, which is one of the parts. So I found the liver. And there's the gallbladder. And now we're looking for the rectum. I'm going to go over here and move the intestines out of the way. And there's the rectum. We're looking for the stomach now. We did find the cecum earlier. I clicked on that over here, so we won't have to click on it again. But here is the stomach. And just to make sure we found everything, let's go ahead and scroll down and see. And it looks like we found everything except for the pancreas. So now let's see. Pancreas was underneath the stomach. So now we found everything. We're going to go to switch to the urinary system, that is. Wait for the animal to scroll into view and look for the kidneys. Kidneys are here, 1 and 2.